The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. The shepherds went in haste to Bethlehem and found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. All who heard it were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds. And Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told to them. When 8 days were completed for his circumcision, he was named Jesus, the name given him by the angel, before he was conceived in the womb. The Gospel of the Lord.
Thanks to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
On behalf of Monsignor Lapinto, Father Grimovich, and of course myself, I wish to express our best wishes as we close out the calendar year 2020 and pray for 2021. It is comforting to do this, not only as citizens and Christians, but as Catholics. In our tradition, this is the octave of Christmas. As the name suggests, octave means 8 and reflects the Latin way of counting. It means, however, a week and a way of marking very special feasts. There were once many octaves, but now they have been reduced to 2, Christmas and Easter. The octave of Christmas has been celebrated many things over the years. Some of us may remember when it was the feast of the circumcision of the Lord. But Pope St. Paul VI realized that it should be dedicated to Mary. An octave is an echo of Jesus' major interventions into history, and Mary is the most perfect echo of Jesus' incarnation. Of all the possibilities of recognizing Mary's special connection to the incarnation, he chose Mary, the Mother of God. Let us look at why at another gospel selection before returning to the gospel chosen for today and a more pertinent lesson. The title Mary, Mother of God became popular in the 5th century to combat a heresy which held that Mary was only the mother of Jesus' humanity. In this view, the Word of God, second person of the Blessed Trinity, entered the man Jesus at some point, but was not present at the conception. This may seem like a technicality, but the bishops, in union with the Pope, understood that this compromised salvation. Jesus needed to be 100% human and 100% divine from his very conception for us to be truly redeemed and saved. Thus, Mary was given the title Theotokos, which in Greek means God-bearer, and thus Mother of God in English. Unfortunately, this can cause 2 areas of confusion, one obscuring the humanity of Jesus, and the other diminishing the continuing importance of the motherhood of Mary. It is good for us today to recognize that Jesus, God and man, was born at Christmas, and that for us to be saved, he must be both. It would be better to call today, however, the Feast of Mary, the Mother of Jesus. A way to understand this may be to look at how Mary was always mother. Now, yes, of course, she bore Jesus in her womb, but there is more to motherhood than giving birth. Motherhood is a relationship and for many of us, the most formative one of our lives. The importance and effects of this can best be seen at the miracle of Cana. Now, Mary may seem like a mere walk-on here, but her role is critical, not only for this miracle, but for the entire Gospel of St. John. Call to mind the story. Mary has been invited to a wedding in the small town of Cana. A wedding was the only time most people had to give a party. It was extremely important. On a very human level, if the young couple ran out of wine, they would be remembered for this the rest of their lives. It would be a domestic tragedy. Yet here is more than the merely human, but there's more than the merely human going on here. The first indication is how Jesus addresses Mary. When she tells him they have no wine, he responds, "Woman, how does your concern affect me? My hour has not yet come." Now, this is at very least a disconcerting remark. First, referring to your mother as woman is unheard of in ancient literature. The only other instance of this is also John's Gospel, when Jesus speaks to Mary under the cross. Second, how does your concern affect me? This could seem like a terribly selfish and mean-spirited comment, yet we should take it at face value. He is truly asking, why is this important? He has come to redeem and to reveal himself, but when should he start? What is his hour? Mary's answer is to tell the servants to do what he asks them to do. This is not being coy. This is a straight answer, and Jesus understands it as such. As we know, he had them fill the cisterns of water, and he changed them into enough wine to satisfy the thirst of the village for a year. Mary is a mother here, not because she could get a seemingly stubborn son to do what she wanted, but because she had developed a trusting and open relationship with Jesus. She is here the spokesperson for the entire human race. All of us, you and me, every human being at every point in time. This is the time, this is the place when she says that we, humanity, are dry and parched. We need to be filled. Jesus understands and begins. But notice, only the relationship with a mother would be intimate enough to accomplish this. Now, there follows a line which may seem to be a throwaway. There are no throwaways in John's Gospel. After this, he and his mother, his brothers, and his disciples went down to Capernaum and stayed there only a few days. After the beginning of the ministry, Jesus took his disciples, and note, Mary is named first, to be with him. Jesus knows that we do not immediately understand what he does and why he does it. So, as important as the miracle itself is time spent to understand it and to truly make it part of oneself. Thus, we read in today's gospel from Luke, and Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Mary, the mother of Jesus, was called to cry out the need of the world. As brothers and sisters of Jesus, we are called to maintain our families and communities. As the calendar year 2020 has most mercifully ended, the year of COVID-19 has not. And it has perhaps revealed and is still revealing that some of our relationships with family, friends, work, and church are not as strong as we thought. Learn from Mary and spend some time with Jesus. Reflect on him in your hearts. Mary's acceptance of her role as disciple and mother brought salvation to the universe. What will our acceptance of being disciple and brother or sister bring?